Hey guys, this is an excerpt from my fantasy novel, The Price of Renewal. I just released this new copy with a brand new cover. I did this over quite some time, drawing each of these characters and putting them together, and it's just a much sleeker looking, awesome new edition of the book. You can get this on Amazon in paperback, hardcover, and ebook. But if the price is too high for anyone and you'd still like to get your hands on the book, I also just released a brand new mass market paperback edition, which is about 4.5 by 7 inches, so quite a bit smaller than this one. And that one is going for only $10. So go ahead and pick up your copy today over on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. And let's go ahead and get on with this excerpt.
The Price of Renewal by Austin Buffington. Chapter 9. Deep in the elder woods, at the top of a tall stone tower nestled in the Whispering Glade, resided the old hermit Galdor. In his study, he sat on a high-backed armchair, smoking his pipe in contemplation. The sweet smell of tobacco smoke tickled his nostrils, stimulating his mind with questioning thoughts of the universe. A cool breeze wafted in through the open window that Galdor was facing. Just outside, a storm was raging, flashes of lightning lighting up the cloudy night sky, responding to the booming call of thunder. All around Galdor's study were shelves of ancient texts and artifacts that filled the room with ominous energy. A single chandelier hung from the ceiling, and the hearth was ablaze, casting the room in a warm orange glow. Dark times are afoot, Galdor considered as he watched the storm rage. Slam! From behind Galdor's chair, the door to the study burst open, accompanied by the hurried stomps of boots against the stone floor. I need to use the orb, a woman's voice demanded from the doorway. Galdor turned in his chair to see Anna Wyndlith, breathing heavily and soaked from the rain, water pooling at her feet. What is the meaning of this outburst, Anna? Galdor questioned with violent irritation. I must check on his condition, she replied, her voice wavering frantically as she walked over to a wooden table in the center of the room. Atop the table, sitting on a purple silk cushion, there was a glass orb, as black as the night sky. Go right ahead, Galdor said as he turned back to the window and took another drag from his pipe. You know I cannot do it by myself, Anna stated, her hands planted on her hips. The orb shows me only that which I do not wish to see. Your will is not yet strong enough to control it, Galdor said. Scrying is a test of mental fortitude. Then ye must help me, Anna declared. She trudged over to the old wizard and grabbed the pipe out of his hand. Humph! Galdor sighed as he rose from the chair and followed Anna to the table. I wish you would cease this obsession. I will help you with scrying only for the sake of your learning. Why can't ye not just come to Oakenwood and show them the truth? Anna asked. You do not know the truth yourself, Miss Wyndlith. What do you mean? Anna pressed Galdor. Right here in Erdania, evil deceives the innocent. I know what is going on with the Covenant. Ye have shown me in the orb that Serinath is alive, and I have read your books about hemocraft. Galdor raised one wrinkled hand and hovered it over the top of the pitch-black orb. I have enlightened you to this information only to provide you a stronger understanding of the universe. You do not understand the truth of what you believe to be evil. Do ye deny that he is evil? Anna inquired. Yes, Galdor replied, but why I cannot say. Closing his eyes, Galdor channeled the deepest parts of his mind, his bony fingers twitching above the sphere of darkness. Slowly, a colored smoke began to whirl around inside the ball of glass, changing from shades of orange to yellow to green. Anna gazed into the orb as it was overtaken by the plumes of smoke. Galdor's face twisted with a hint of strain as he channeled his mental energy. As he further strained for control over the mystical artifact, red flashed through the smoke, a reflection of the lightning outside. Gradually, the veil of smoke began to part at the center of the orb, revealing an elderly, decrepit man nestled in a stone chair. The man appeared to be in the dark depths of a cavern. Stalactites hung from the cavern ceiling, casting shadows across the man's decaying, wrinkled face in the glow of candlelight. The corpse of a man appeared to be desperately clinging to life, hardly able to keep open the empty voids that were his eyes. With a grunt of distress, Galdor lowered his head and the image in the glass ball faded back to black, a void that mirrored that of the eyes of the frail man in the orb's conjured image. Galdor raised his arm and gripped his forehead to soothe the pain that had so abruptly assaulted his mind. "What happened?" Anna cried out. "Ye never lost the image so quick." "He stopped me, Anna," Galdor replied. "He does not want us watching him." "Ye know we have to keep an eye on him, Galdor. His strength is waning," Anna said in a tone of frustration. "Soon he will be too weak to prevent us from stopping him." "Keep me out of your foolish pursuit, Anna Wyndlith," Galdor countered. You must not meddle with his affairs." "Ye are powerful, Galdor. I don't understand your reluctance to help me. If anyone has the ability to stop Serinath, it be ye," Anna exclaimed, slamming her fist on the wooden table. "Enough!" Galdor commanded, his voice powerful and authoritative. "I will not have you dragging me into your uninformed convictions for justice." Anna jumped with fright and retreated back as Galdor raised his voice. She remained silent for a moment until her deep-seated principles began to stir, forcing her to swallow her fear. "If ye will not help me, Galdor, I will find a way to turn Serinath's remaining followers against him. His manipulation of people's blind faith has gone on far too long. I cannot stress enough that you do not understand what you are doing," Galdor replied. "If I could tell you more, I would do so, but now is not the time." Anna paced over to the open window in deep contemplation. Serinath had to be stopped, but Galdor would not assist. She was nowhere near strong enough to face him head-on, without Galdor's aid. If she was to confront him, she would need to weaken him enough to where his power did not so greatly outweigh her own. To do this, she must continue trying to turn people away from the Covenant, for Serinath drew his power from the many sacrifices being performed by his remaining followers. Anna fixed her vision on the sprawling forest outside that was being showered by the raging storm overhead. As she watched, she noticed a handful of small, glowing orange patches beginning to appear across the sea of green. "Galdor," she called to the old wizard, "what is happening outside?" Galdor walked over and joined his apprentice at the window. His perceptive old eyes honed in on the increasing number of illuminating orange splotches. "Wildfires," he commented as flashes webbed across the hazy sky. "Perhaps from the lightning." The two stood in the study at the top of the tower, master and apprentice, observing the powerful force of nature. Then the patches of orange swiftly began to spread. The boundless carpet of trees quickly transformed into a blazing ocean of raging fire. They could feel the tremendous heat from all the way up in Galdor's tower. "It is him," Galdor explained, now rethinking the situation outside. "He has had enough of your spying." Anna instinctively brought herself closer to Galdor, fearful of the terrifying display. "What do we do?" "Nothing. Close your eyes, Anna, and guard your mind. He only wishes to scare you." But she could not keep her eyes closed. Anna sought knowledge just as much as her mentor, and could not refrain from observation, no matter how frightening. She watched as Galdor brought himself to the floor, folding his legs and sitting in a crisscross position. The fire outside had overtaken everything as far as the eye could see, and now seemed to be taking the place of the stone walls around them. Wind howled through the open windows of the tower, rattling fixtures on the walls and the chandelier overhead. Everything was consumed in flame, except for herself and the old wizard she so deeply respected. "If you value your sanity, keep your eyes closed," Galdor shouted, his voice being snuffed out by the assaulting noise of the inferno around them. Finally, no longer able to withstand her growing horror, Anna closed her eyes, replacing the bright, stinging light of the fire with the soothing darkness of her closed-off vision. "Do not fear," Galdor yelled as loud as he could. "Guard your mind, and do—" The voice of Anna's mentor had now been completely silenced by the chaotic crackle and roar of the flame. This was all that Anna could hear for seconds that felt like minutes, until the overwhelming sound morphed into a low rumble that began to take on the characteristic of a seething, powerful voice. "Anna Wyndlith," the voice blared through the darkness of Anna's closed eyelids. "Your blasphemy has gone too far. Cease this plot against me at once." At a different time in her life, Anna would have been in awe at the unfathomable power of her God. She would have gotten to her knees and bowed in fear, begging for forgiveness. But Anna knew better now. She knew far more about Serinath the deceiver. She knew that his ability was decreasing and that this grandiose display of power must be an illusion. Serinath surely would not be able to keep this up for long. It would demand far too much of his mental strength. She had just seen him sitting on his throne, ancient and weak. His years were catching up to him. Anna was overcome with confidence as she rationalized what was happening. Her fear receding, she puffed up her chest and shouted in protest. "Ye prey on the minds of the innocent, Serinath. Ye are nothing but a fraud." "You should listen to your mentor, Galdor. He knows far more than you," the voice thundered, but failed to get out any more words as the sizzling of the flames ceased. Slowly, but with newly found courage, Anna lifted the lids of her eyes to find that she was no longer surrounded by fire, and her mentor's study had returned to normal. Galdor was already back on his favorite chair, smoking his pipe, once again watching the storm. "I will no longer teach you to scry by spying on Serinath," he said between puffs of smoke. "But he is weak," Anna retorted. "He could not keep up that illusion long enough to speak more than a couple sentences." "Perhaps," Galdor replied, once again turning to face his apprentice. "But your plot against him is becoming problematic." "He's growing desperate. For him to spend so much energy just to call to me and command me to stop makes that evident." "But you should stop," Galdor replied. "I don't understand why ye won't tell me what ye know," Anna responded, taking a seat on the floor across from Galdor. "Because it must be kept secret," Galdor replied, "for at least a little longer." Just as the smoke from Galdor's pipe swirled into the air, a sudden crash of thunder rattled the tower, shaking dust from the rafters. Anna was growing distrustful of Galdor. What was he hiding? Could he not see the threat to Ardania that Serinath was? Did he not feel it was important to stop him? Over and over, Galdor had told her that she did not understand the truth, yet it seems crystal clear to her. Serinath was deceiving people into using hemocraft to keep himself alive. "I will not allow him to silence me. People deserve to know the truth. The covenant, my parents." "You are allowing your personal relationships to cloud your judgment," Galdor replied, puffing a ring of smoke into the air as he spoke. "If you believe you know the truth, why have you not already shared it with your parents?" "They will not listen," Anna said as she lowered her gaze in defeat. "Because you are challenging their very worldview, what they have based their entire lives upon." Galdor's words struck Anna like the smashing force of a blunt sword. She folded her arms in frustration, and the two of them sat in silence, listening to the soundtrack of roaring thunder and falling rain.